am joined by Dignitas' very own Mr. Dogbert. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, mate. Early in the morning, though.
yeah. Only 10:30. A lot of people here still coming out of hibernation. Now, tell me all about Dignitas' gamer search.
Well, basically, this is something we've done before. We did it last year. We picked up Bling through our player search. We did it at HMV. The idea is basically there's a lot of untapped talent in the UK, and we wanted to give them the chance to get involved in a big eSports team without having to meet the right people, having to go through all the legwork of coming to tournaments that they might not be able to afford. So we put on a gamer search and we will pick up a player. It doesn't have to be the guy who wins the tournament. It could be anyone that we think has the potential to be a world-class player in our organisation. It kind of just came about what you're thinking, okay, you've got these competitions on TV where, I'm gonna become the next pop star. We're like, okay, let's try that with gaming. Let's see what we can find. Maybe not the story people want to hear. They're like, you don't want to be, I'm copying a TV program. But no, this is something I think a lot of people think they want to do, and we talked to Alienware, and they were like, yeah, let's go for it.
So are you Dignitas' equivalent of Simon Cowell then?
Nah, I'd give that one to Odie. I'll let him be the hated one.
Now, you spoke about Alienware. You guys do a lot of things with companies. What's it like dealing with them?
It's usually really, really good. Some are more open to others. And it's just, in most cases, what we have to do is educate them about what we do. A lot of sponsors are very interested in what we do, but they're not as educated about it as any of the gamers are going to be. So in most cases, you have to kind of explain how everything is. Like the last 2 years, gaming has changed completely from what it was to what it is now. Stuff like streaming has changed the landscape, so you have to sit down and explain it to the sponsors, and this is the way things are going. This is something you should jump on board and start promoting, or at least keeping an eye on it and seeing if they want to get in. So in most cases, it's just education and scene. But then you get some sponsors. Alienware are one that are keyed into this kind of stuff. Over in DreamHack, they sponsored all the gamer areas were all X51s. Their systems were everywhere. So every pro player was using one of their systems at one of these events. And I mean, here we've got our systems, we've got the Alienware systems here. So they help a lot because pro players getting systems around a lot of places is not easy. So they help a lot with that.
I mean, we've had a whale of a time just getting these cameras around, getting a monitor and a computer. No, I do not think I could do that. Now, we're talking about education. What would you say to people who don't know about esports, who don't know what it is you do?
Seriously, I had to deal with this a lot recently. I went to with a load of teachers from a university, just a party, just like sitting down, have a bit of drink of wine and some food with friends, and someone came up and said, so they'd introduce themselves, and then, so what do you do? And you're like, I work in eSports. And they're like, so what's that? And it's just like, all right, here we go. I work for a team that sends players around the world to compete in tournaments and to work at booths and do lots of things involved in gaming, helping sponsors and helping developers learn how to build a game that could be worth something in eSports. And they're like, so you make games? They're like, no, I don't make games. We play games. I'm like, you can do that as a living? Yeah, you can do that as a living, but not. It takes a lot of effort and time. And then they'll say, so you play too many games. Don't you want to go out and like kill people? Can you tell the difference? And just like, oh God, here we go. Like, no. At the end of the day, it's becoming a lot easier because it's becoming a lot more mainstream. Everyone's gaming, and as the population ages, the people who've been playing gaming, playing on whatever console or PC 20 years ago, are starting to become the people who are actually somewhere in, teachers, for example. The amount of teachers I'm meeting now who at some point have played Doom or something is just crazy.
I mean, you say games are crossing the mainstream. I feel it's kind of happened without anyone noticing. Like, you see big Black Ops billboards and stuff like that. When do you think the moment was when things crossed over?
No
one's giving me a straight answer. I don't think anyone truly knows.
No, I think it's one of those things that kind of happened quite seamless. But at the end of the day, big console releases kind of pushed it. They ended up infiltrating people's homes through their children, and I'll give that a go as well. And then the parents start playing, and then it just goes on from there. And at the end of the day, I remember when Command and Conquer Tiberium Sun ran TV ads for their game on TV, and I'm just like, oh wow, okay, look, games are going somewhere. They're on TV now, getting adverts, and that was for me. That was like, yeah, one of my favorite games has like got an advert. It's a terrible advert, one of the worst I've ever seen. I've literally tried to find it on YouTube since, couldn't. But I was around about the time that it starts getting advertised on TV is when it's there.
Okay, and what advice would you give to anyone at university, maybe just about to graduate, about getting involved in the games industry, about getting involved in esports?
It has to be a passion. If it's your passion, get involved. There's some people from Manchester Barcraft, the guy who's totally wants to get involved, do the legwork, do a lot of the stuff that isn't, I would say, a bit boring or not fun or very tedious, but if you enjoy getting involved in stuff like this, because there's a lot of enthusiasm, especially in the UK, but it hasn't been tapped, it hasn't been pooled yet, and it's going to happen, it's just getting there. So you're looking at it like the big things for universities is, especially over in America and even a few Asian ones, they've got like the gaming societies, and before this it could have been whatever, but now it could be like eSports stuff. There could be university leagues, which a lot of people are kind of saying, yeah, let's do this, but it's people with the enthusiasm and the drive to keep pushing it, which is what's needed.
I know Cardiff keep proposing a Cardiff-Swansea varsity StarCraft or League of Legends league, which is really cool. Now, you guys have achieved a great deal. You know, you're sponsored by Intel, Alienware, huge companies, and you're sending people all over the world. Could you give me a very short history of your team? Okay.
You ever heard of 1942? Original Battlefield game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Michael O'Dell, the owner of Team Dignitas, well, one of the owners, they started playing this game. Two teams came together in 1942. They were the best team then. They won everything. And they were like, you know what? They were trying to get sponsors so they can go to events. And they're like, oh, let's try and put a team together. And it kind of started from there. And it just slowly but surely, they started picking up other teams. We tried to avoid the big games. Back in the day, 7-8 years ago, CS was the main game. Warcraft 3, which is almost dead and buried now, but that was just like back in the day, that's what everyone was getting involved. And we were like, yeah, we didn't have the money to pay salaries, didn't have the money to do this, so we avoided it. We focused on smaller games where people were a lot more passionate about what they were doing. They do it because they want to do it. They were doing it because they wanted to compete, and it grew from that. So 2003 onwards, I joined 2005. Battlefield 2, Call of Duty, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, Trackmania, I'm naming just a few, but we've had so many games. World in Conflict, StarCraft, and it just grew from that. We started coming to i47s. I think the turning point was when Odie basically said, I'm going to quit my job and do this full time. And he's got 3 kids and a wife, and he's just like, okay, let's go for it. And as soon as that happened, everything just picked up quicker and quicker and quicker. And that guy is driven. And he picked me up in 2005 as just a player. And now I've worked my way into management. And we've got to the point where we've got an entire team, unlike any other esports team in the world, where all our management are players, ex-players. We know esports because we help make it. So
it's great to see people doing what they love, and it really is. I mean, you guys seem to be having a great time here. One last question. You talked about coming to the i-Series. What's your favorite part of the festival?
I'm tempted to say the pub quiz.
You know, the guy running the whole thing said that too. I think the pub quiz is a big fixture.
The pub quiz for the i-Series is always great fun. I mean, I've won 3 of them in a row.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't win yesterday. I was dragged down by lesser mortals. But usually, yeah, pub quiz is kind of the highlight. But at the end of the day, it depends. When I was a player, the highlight for me was whenever I was playing on stage. Because that's the buzz you get when you're playing in front of a crowd is unlike anything else. And I miss it. But all my games are gone.
Well, I hope to see you on stage again one day. Listen, it's been absolutely amazing speaking to you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Dignitas' very own Mr. Dogbert.